This review is in memory of Chick Corea, who had sadly passed away February 9th of this year, 2021. Brilliant composer, pianist, and keyboardist that he was. He'll greatly be missed, but his music will absolutely be there forever for all of us to enjoy. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Justin, and today we're going to do an album review of Return to Forever's sixth studio album, Romantic Warrior, which was released in 1976. Now, funnily enough, I had only been introduced to this album through you guys, through your recommendations, a long time ago. I want to say probably about a year ago. You guys had recommended the song Romantic Warrior to me, and I gave that a listen and was really impressed. So on my own, I had listened to the rest of the album, and I never thought of making a review for it, but I figured this was the time to do it in memory of Chick's passing. This is an album that is as creative as it is complex. It is abundant in ideas, talent, and technical prowess. It's like an exercise of fun for musicians. It's a musician's album, in my opinion, while at the same time allowing the actual musicians themselves to push boundaries of what they were doing at the time. It's a bit noodly, but it's also wonderfully unpredictable. And kind of opposed to the album cover, there's nothing definitively medieval about the music here. And yet at the same time, there's lots of moments and lots of passages that are reminiscent of a late night in a D&D campaign. Now, do you like solos? Because we got
ton of solos.
From Stanley Clarke on the bass, of course, Chick Corea on piano and keyboards and synths, and absolutely Mr. DiMeola on the guitar. And there's a lot of really good guitar. And let's not forget about Mr. White on the drums, who really brings a scorching wildfire into the album with his drumming and percussion. One thing that stands out about the album is just how intensely focused each member of the band sounds in playing their parts. And yet at the same time, none of it is done without any sort of levity. There's a lot of fun to be had, and there's no presence of pretense in what they perform and how they play. There's raw precision in every single facet of this album, in every track, and yet at the same time, the musicians don't take themselves too seriously. There's a nice juxtaposition between the less serious, the jaunty moments, and the times where the tracks really become a lot more crucial, important, and serious. It's definitely an album that I would say is essential for anyone who likes jazz, anyone who likes rock, anyone who likes progressive rock, anyone who likes fusion, and anything in between. Opening the album from the get-go, going from 0 to 60 really quick with the track Medieval Overture. From the first few moments of this track, we understand just how locked in the band members are with each other and just how ahead of their time they really are. This is a ride that you're going to want to strap in for because they're not waiting for you. There's no time to get acclimated and get used to their sound. You're either in or you're out. I really like the light melody that Chick provides on the keyboards as the rest of the band begins to build energy and momentum off of that. And you can see how it begins small but easily becomes very adventurous and grandiose. White's swift and blazing delivery on percussion, the drums, the transitions are huge. White is an absolutely insane and intense drummer, and what he brings to the band is really nice. Definitely brought out a lot in this song. One particular fill leads us into this dark and murky kind of dungeon-like setting where DiMeola comes in with a guitar and just leads us further down the path. And then you get some synthy and arcadey kind of sounds that go around it. It's bombast, it's experimental, but it's also really daring and, like I said at the beginning, kind of fun. Robert Christgau said in one of his books that this album was jazz rock's answer to ELP. And that's something I wish that I thought of because I never really considered that. But yeah, there is definitely a nice comparison to be made between ELP and what they did with rock and classical music, and Return to Forever on this album with what they did with rock and jazz music. Carrying over some of the inertia and momentum from the first track, we move into Sorceress, which immediately tosses us to this really funky bass provided, of course, by Mr. Stanley Clarke. It's a foot tapper, it's a head bopper of an intro. You cannot not move to this thing, okay? Chick's stylish synths really drift wonderfully in the undercurrent of the rhythm and of the groove. It just feels right. Eventually, percussion and some guitars set alight and some textures begin to form within the music. Demiola comes in with some really sweet and succinct licks as well, before Chick comes sweeping in very swiftly and comes in with some very cheerfully dramatic kind of piano. In this song, I feel that you can really hear just how locked in specifically Chick and Demiola are combined and how they're really working in tandem, working on those melodies, bringing those alight. Everything in this song is the definition of cool. Especially that really tasty drum fill leading back into the main theme of the track. I mean, what else do you want? Getting into the third track, The Romantic Warrior, the title track of the album, this to me is the standout. This is absolutely the center and crown jewel. This is the first song I heard from them, and this is still the one that makes the greatest impact to me. I love the romantic guitar playing in the intro as the ebb and flow flourishes of piano kind of wash in and out just like waves. It's a really nice intro, a really nice setup. Clark dragging his bow across the bass adds a little bit of class and pizzazz into it. And this is the song where everything really comes together just right. Not too hot, not too cold. It's the last bowl of porridge, guys. We got a Goldilocks situation here. The main riff of the song is insanely catchy, and we get some solos here as well, which I really enjoy, getting a little bit of standout in each of the members. First up is Stanley Clarke on the bass, and it's just a very tasty and thorough bass solo throughout this section. Demiola comes in second with a really, really fiery guitar solo, creating such friction in his playing, I wouldn't doubt if there was smoke in the studio. And then for the third solo, the song picks up tempo, picks up pace a little bit, and Chick comes in. Again, it's a perfectly fitting solo as Chick gets on this speeding bullet train of a song. And even though White doesn't have a moment of a solo in this song, I feel like if you listen to his drumming, he's pretty much doing a solo. He's just doing so much in there that he didn't need to do anything else. You know, you either heard him or you didn't. His performance and his stage presence is enough. Building back up into something heavier, we move into the fourth track, Majestic Dance, written by Miola, and this is where the rock of the jazz fusion, jazz rock really comes in. This is that second part of the formula, and it sounds very influential into what prog rock would do later on, carrying over into modern day. Miola, he brings in some much wanted heaviness into this one. He plays hard. And then Chick as well just kind of merrily dances around between the melodies, between the riffs, coming in at kind of an intersection in the riffage that's going on, but also providing a very nice counterbalance to what's happening in the track. And I'll admit, I'm not in love with every single synthy sound that kind of comes in. Some of it kind of kills the mood just a little bit, but to me, it's a minor detail, it's a minor distraction, and it doesn't really disturb the music. And fitting the title of the track, we do eventually get into a nice solo that feels very majestic on the guitar. This is a song that shows that Demiola is not one to be messed with. The Magician is probably the most complex and ambitious track on the album. This one has really big shifts in its dynamics. It really changes the whole flow of the album. And even though I'll admittedly don't love it, I have to admire it because it feels so progressive. This is the song to me that feels like they're really stretching their wings, trying to build muscle in their music and in their performance. I especially love that ambience that's built around the mysterious guitar notes that ring out. I love the cosmic intensity that boils down to a little bit of experimental back and forth between the synths and the bass. It's definitely one of the more trying songs on the album, but it's not without its rewards as well. The ending, I think, is very satisfying, and you get a little bit of a last hurrah on this one. Duel of the Jester and the Tyrant, in my opinion, is the epitome of what this album means and what this album is. This one starts off very progressive before it settles into something a little more comfortable. Before it kind of finds its place, you get some really nice, rich, and lush chords that are present here as well. I really enjoy Chick's synth sounds in here. I know this is a little weird, but to me, his synth reminds me of a very dreamy and quiet sunset, images of paradise before Demiola comes on top of him and sprinkles a little bit of angel dust on top of it. With just some heavenly and divine guitar. Moments of breakneck speed in the performances. I love the way the synths are built around the keys. There's a nice bassy breakdown, maybe about halfway, that is just delicious. This track and the title track to me are the most essential out of the album, and to me, truly show what the band were trying to do and accomplish at the time, and did accomplish. The other songs are really good too. I just feel like perfect, this is the perfect melting pot with all the right ingredients at all the right amounts. Anyway, so those are just my brief thoughts on a track by track kind of description. But let's talk about my favorite moments in the album and my song rankings, as there are no lyrics to talk about. My favorite moments in the album is the main theme of the title track. I just love it. Every time it comes in, I'm excited to hear it. I know that throughout these great solos that are happening, I know at the end, we're going to get that theme again. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, bum, bum. That's how you make catchy instrumental music. My song rankings for the album from favorite to least favorite. My song rankings from favorite to least favorite. The Romantic Warrior, Sorceress, Duel of the Jester and the Tyrant, Majestic Dance, The Magician, and Medieval Overture. I almost said Medieval Torture. It sounds like I hated the song now, but no, I just accidentally almost said that. This is an essential album. I think you have to listen to it. And even if there is a little bit of noodling in it, I feel like this is an album that really rocks. You need to play this one really loud, This isn't a quiet jazz album. This isn't something you put on at dinner. This is something you put on at breakfast so you can get ready to go for the day. Every single member in the band feels essential, and the album really greatly benefits from that. The music blossoms because of all the input of all the members. In an interview, Demiola said playing in Return to Forever was unbelievable. It was a challenge to play that stuff. It makes you grow quick. It's like throwing a baby in deep water. Sink or swim. Well, basing it off of that and what I've heard, the band not only swam, but they sailed, they surfed, they were just fine in the deep water. And as they say, sometimes with challenging music, pressure makes diamonds. And I think, guys, that what we have here is a diamond of an album. Of course, I would love to know what you guys thought of it. You can join me on Twitter. You can join me in the comments down below. If you'd like to support the channel, you can also join me on Patreon. You don't have to, but it definitely helps. Otherwise, before you leave, just click the like button for me. And otherwise, I hope that you have a fantastic day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.